Hello YouTube. It has been a while. This is going to be a basketball related discussional video because I was on YouTube yesterday and I was scrolling around and I saw a poll yesterday. I forgot whose poll it was, but I saw a poll about who's the best shooting guard in the league. And obviously, y'all are entitled to y'all opinions. It's to my basketball fan people. But I saw a lot of y'all say Harden right now because of obvious reasons. And, Bill was up there, Devin Booker was up there. The people who were in the playoffs actually making success. The purpose of what sparked my idea for this video, I need to remind y'all. Because y'all didn't forget about Klay Thompson. I really think y'all forgotten about Klay Thompson. Whenever somebody says who is the best at whoever's position, currently right now, one. Let's flip this around. If Steph was hurt, I don't care what anybody else is doing. Steph's still top dog, hurt or not. LeBron was hurt. LeBron is still the best. I know Giannis just won the MVP. I was extremely happy he did that because I didn't want to see KD win or Chris Paul. Even so, LeBron's still the top dog. What I need some of y'all to remember and realize that when you're talking about who's the best at whose position and who's the best currently right now or something like that, when you look at the Warriors or you look at a specific person, here's an analogy. When in the 2000s, when I was a kid, I knew back then Kobe Bryant was the best shooting guard in the league. It wasn't even close. Because he was winning and he had championships. So he had the rings. Specifically, he had consistency and he was winning. The purpose of, and why I'm saying that, back then you knew undisputably, oh, Kobe's the best. As far as, talent goes and all that. Where it stops at though, or where you can make an argument with it to the people who rival him, because I know a lot of people, even me at one point, a lot of people used to say back then, oh, T-Mac is on Kobe's level. In terms of talent, yes, but the game is about winning. So if you can't, people can be as talented as they want. Allen Iverson obviously back then was extremely talented. He did, I ain't gonna see, there's no other little man I know that's gonna do it what he did again for a while. So back then in the shooting guards tier, you had Kobe, you had T-Mac, you had AI, you had Ray Allen. You had this whole, Michael Ray, you had this whole list of shooting guards back then that were, up there. But the two who definitively were the best back then, and some people like to say, who's the system player, da-da-da-da-da-da. No. Kobe was number one. The person who could make the case to go up against him, though, only because of, it's, like I said, the game is about winning. Manu Ginobili. Look at the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are about consistency. The Spurs' top three players back then, Tim Duncan was the best power forward back then, period. There's no discussion. He had the winning and the consistency. So that was inarguable. Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili were not the two best at their positions back then. What gave them a case for it, though, was the fact that they were consistent and they were winning. They highly contributed in both areas when it came to the Spurs franchise. Therefore, you could make the strong case. Ginobili was right behind Kobe, and Tony Parker back then was, because people wasn't really looking at rings back then, you could make the case he was behind Steve Nash. Personally, I don't believe Steve Nash was the best back then. I know he got the 2 MVPs, but the game is about winning at the biggest stage. Nash never got there, unfortunately. So that's a knock on him, as great as he was. So when I look at today, I saw a crap ton of people saying James Harden is the best right now. Let me stop those people right there. Let me remind y'all, because people gonna try to throw at me, oh, it's only because he's on the Warriors. James Harden's been the one doing all this and all that. He can do this stuff. Klay can't do that. Okay. The same way y'all say James Harden can do this stuff, Klay can't. Can Klay do what James Harden does for the Warriors? Realistically, every team, you're going to see a crap ton of Hardens. You're going to continue to see Hardens as time goes on. You will not see multiple Klays in every area. Klay has defined, literally, if I use 2K terms, Klay is the modern day prototypical for a two-way, three-level scorer. That is a scorer, somebody who can score. They all around, and they can play defense at a tremendous level. Or you could say he's the prototypical 3-and-D guard. Klay is the reason why those types of people are extremely valuable today. James Harden is a scorer and a playmaker. Okay, you're going to see more of those as time goes on. You're not going to find a better shooting guard that plays his role better than what Klay has done. And to remind these people who said Harden too, also, I want y'all to remember, Klay Thompson was a reason why James Harden got knocked out of the playoffs in the Warriors championship run multiple years. Y'all must have forgot. 2015 to about 2019, Warriors was whooping their behinds. Period. It don't matter what Klay was doing or what Harden was doing either, because every year the Warriors was his obstacle and he couldn't get over them. And now Harden has this is another thing too. Goes back to this thing I said about consistency and winning. When you think of the Warriors, you're going to think of Steph Curry. You're going to think, if you're smart, you're going to think of Klay Thompson, and you're going to think of Draymond Green. A lot of people, obviously, Steph is the engine that makes them work. Draymond is the heart and soul. Okay, where does Klay come in at? There is no Splash Brothers without Klay Thompson. You're not going to find another person that complements his game either that complements Steph Curry better than Klay Thompson. There's no other guard in the league that better suits his game at his position other than it. And y'all have seen in the past, we have they're a duo. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are a duo in NBA history. Even Kevin Durant when he came. Yeah, a lot of people say you can make the argument, oh, they're a better duo. Remember, we beat KD. KD came to us. We didn't go to him. Before KD came, him and Russ did not even equate to the level that Steph and Klay were at. So when people were talking about when he went over to Brooklyn, which big three is better, Golden State's or Brooklyn's? First of all, Kevin Durant had it easy in Golden State. He will never have it easier anywhere else. So when people want to say which big three is better, yeah, they got the talent over there in Brooklyn. Oh, by far they have the talent. But all together, contributing to winning and consistency, Kyrie Irving is not on Steph Curry's level. Anybody that tries to argue with me about that, put it in the comments. I'll love to hit you with some facts about it, because that floats around every now and then. Kyrie is not on Steph's level. Talking about Klay and Harden. People want to say, oh, Harden is a better scorer than Klay. Klay Thompson is the only person I know in NBA history that put up 60 points on 11 dribbles. You know how much you have to dribble a basketball normally for most people to score? Klay did that, put up 60 points in 11 dribbles. That is one of his best feats by far. Y'all know doggone well how much James Harden dribbles the air out of the basketball. Ain't no way y'all finna tell me, yeah, oh, Harden is a better isolation scorer. Even you could make the case with that, because Harden has the flashy game. Klay has in the beginning when he first came in the league, all Klay did, all he was a shooter. Time progressed. Okay, Klay became, just what I said, a two-way, three-level scorer. Klay's main roles of scoring now are, obviously he's shooting. Off-ball movement is a part of offense, so he can do that. In a 1v1 or a 5v5 setting outside of the NBA, Klay going to still be off-ball moving. You put him in a 1v1 setting, Klay is going to either drive on you or post you up. Obviously, he's going to be able to shoot, so that's an obvious. People going to say, oh, he doesn't have handles like Harden. You don't need to have flashy handles to be effective. If anything, there's multiple players in the NBA that fit the description of what I'm talking about. They are not flashy, and they still kill people. Andre Miller, somebody from my generation, Andre Miller is a prime example of that. For the people who know Andre Miller, that man had an old man game incarnated, and he still put up 50 points. Klay Thompson made it the same thing at the shooting guard spot. All Klay does is shoot, post up, and cut at a very high level. So you put him in a 5v5 setting outside of the NBA, he's still going to kill. Yeah, Harden going to kill with all that dribbling and stuff, but come on, man. He going to waste all that energy doing it. Klay's game doesn't revolve around wasting all that energy. And I know a lot of people going to say, we'll take him out the Warrior system. He's not going to have the same success. You switch Klay Thompson and James Harden when Brooklyn was playing this year, I guarantee you they probably would have won. I guarantee you, even at their best and healthiest, Klay can fit anywhere. Harden cannot. That's the end of the discussion. Brooklyn is full of people who wanted to be alphas, but they left great players to try to be one and they couldn't. Starting with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had a chance to be an alpha in 2012 when he first went against LeBron. Obviously, LeBron kicked his shit. He could have ran it back. If the Thunder weren't stupid, they could have kept James Harden and ran it back and kept going. But they broke it up. Okay. KD got his own team. Harden got his own team. Harden, for a couple of years, was the supposed alpha of the Rockets. No success, though. Get knocked out by the Warriors 5 or 6 years in a row. No success. Playing the same way. Gave him, and Shaq touched on this, too, when talking about Harden being traded to Brooklyn. Shaq said in his take on it, they gave him everything. They gave James Harden everything. They gave him Chris Paul. Didn't make it work. Wanted it to be about him. Ego got in the way. Chris Paul left. They gave him Westbrook. Ego got in the way again. That didn't work. They gave him shooters. It didn't work. They gave Harden so much in Houston in his entire tenure out there. You would think he would have gotten something accomplished. And I know a lot of people probably might go say something about, well, in 2018, if Chris Paul wasn't hurt, they would have beat the Warriors. The same people that have told me that, let me remind them same people. On my Instagram, there's a picture of that series. When Andre Iguodala was healthy, Andre Iguodala was hounding James Harden and Chris Paul. Iggy got hurt. That's what gave them a chance. If Iggy didn't get hurt, they probably would have got beaten sooner. There's a picture about what he was holding them to. Don't sleep on that. So the people that tell me Chris Paul, I'm going to counter you with Andre Iguodala. Don't sleep on that. That's proven. Playoff Iggy is a real thing. Just like Game 6 Klay is a real thing. Moving forward, like I said, when I think of James Harden, obviously I'm not a casual. The Warriors are my team, but I'm not a casual. I think of James Harden, yes, he's extremely talented. He is one of the best shooting guards of all time. When it's all said and done, his name will be in the record books. But unfortunately, he suffers from the same thing Allen Iverson had. AI cannot put his ego to the side. That's why he couldn't win. AI had plenty of chances to win, too. Had plenty of opportunities to win if he put his ego to the side. But once he started getting older, he didn't want to sacrifice stuff, therefore hindering his ability to continue to win. When AI was on the Nuggets, realistically, when I saw that team, there was no reason why they shouldn't have gotten further than they did. They shouldn't have. If AI would have sacrificed a little bit more than he would have, he gets to the Nuggets. It's between him and Melo. He's the veteran. He's the bigger veteran, too. Somebody got to show the youngins there's a better way to win than what we're doing, because the Nuggets was losing a lot by that. Kobe said it best, too, with James Harden before he died. Rest in peace to him. Kobe Bryant told the media, you will not win a championship the way James Harden plays basketball. Kobe would know what he was talking about, because Kobe was just like Michael Jordan in the beginning. Before MJ got, and I lost some people, this is going to be a different video at some point. Before MJ got Scottie Pippen, in a sense, he was being very selfish. The Last Dance covers that to an extent, too. MJ, when he started getting the pieces, he had to change. He had to shorten his ego. He had to become a true leader and actually understand, I have teammates now. I need to do better to make them feel wanted, to get them involved so we can win together. Once he did that, he started winning rings left and right. Kobe the same way. Kobe and Shaq had that fallout because of their egos. Everybody knows if they would have squashed that beef they had, Kobe and Shaq would have won some more rings very easily, and it wouldn't even been close. And then for that little stage where Shaq left, Kobe was losing until he got Pau Gasol, and then they won the rings in 2009 and 2010. But the point about that is Kobe had to do the same thing Jordan did. He had to become a true leader. Understand, I'm asking my organization for this stuff, but I have to actually use it. I got to adapt my game so that they're not doing all the work. I'm actually putting in something to actually win. That's the point and the problem and the things that separate, a real winner, an alpha dog, a real one, and a beta. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are all beta dogs. I called it Uh, when I found out James Harden left, there's no reason why he couldn't have stayed in Houston. John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins was great pieces, complementary pieces to what he had. He could have made that work if he stayed. And he had Christian Wood. There's no reason why he couldn't have made that work. But he wanted to get out of Houston, talking about, I gave the city everything I had. Like Shaq said, no, you didn't. Gave you all that stuff, you didn't give him everything you had. And then in the closeout games leading up to when you got traded, you stopped trying. No, you was lazy, man. That's the exact reason why, one of the reasons why Brooklyn lost. I was rooting for them to lose too. Because all of them are, the 3-star players of Brooklyn will not own up to their roles. They are betas. Kyrie could have stayed with LeBron and continued to win. Kevin Durant, I'll tell anybody this. When the Raptors won, every smart person knows if they were healthy, man, Kawhi is getting his shit kicked. And it's not even close. He getting his butt kicked. I gave the Raptors fans, they can have that little ring though, but the real people know, if they was healthy, they wouldn't have stood a chance. If Kevin Durant was smart, he would have stayed. He would have been hurt, oh yeah. But they still would have got Wiseman. So by the time KD come back, okay, you have Steph Curry, Draymond, KD, plus the bench stuff they got. They are still going to compete. A roster with at least them 3, and then Klay comes back this year. If KD would have stayed, that's instant championship contending right there all over again. They were a dynasty in the making. But Kevin Durant has an ego problem, so he chose to let his ego and the media ruin his chance. Now, I said, when I saw this post yesterday, I made about 3 comments to it because somebody tried to come on and tell me something about Harden right now, because it's funny. It's the same thing that happened last year. When Steph was hurt, everybody started saying, oh, Damian Lillard's the top point guard now, something like that. Just because somebody is hurt, if you know they're playing at an MVP level and they still have more to give, just because they are hurt, that does not mean they're done yet. It's the same thing with LeBron. This next season, I never questioned who the best small forward in the league is. Even though LeBron is 36, it's still him by far. Now, he's not superhuman anymore, but his resume and consistency in winning outstretches every other person at his position. Even KD, who people want to say is the best small forward in the league, still ahead of him. Everybody knows that. So when I saw somebody telling me something about Harden, that's where the analogy came. Well, I started talking about Manu Ginobili, where I said, okay, Ginobili is not on Kobe's level in terms of talent. That is very obvious. Kobe was different. But anytime they got to the finals, you knew you was going to get production out of Ginobili, especially when he started hitting his peak. So that's consistency, and then they won. That rivaled Kobe alone. Kobe got 5 rings. Yeah, Ginobili has 4. He's right there. Back in the day, he's right there. There is nobody else that comes close to him either back then. It's the same thing today, as it stands right now. Yes, Harden might have all of the individual accolades. Yes. What has that won him though? That's what I want y'all to tell me at the bottom. What is that won Harden? Just like Allen Iverson back then. Iverson had all the individual accolades, but did it win him a championship? Did it give him any form of consistency in terms of winning? No. So the people who try to tell me all these shooting guards are the top dogs now and stuff like that, yes, I'm fully aware. Klay Thompson is coming. Klay is coming back from an Achilles tear and an ACL tear. Yes, that's 2 major injuries to your body. Klay's game is not based around athleticism though, so shooters always will be able to shoot. The only thing people are worried about is his defense. To the people that have been saying that though, an Achilles injury is the 2nd worst injury you can get in the game of basketball. So if Kevin Durant can come back and still play at the level, I was one of the people who said KD ain't gonna come back the same. But he proved me wrong, because up until him, there hadn't been anybody that came back from an Achilles tear since Dominique Wilkins. And that was before technology was the way it is now. So if Kevin Durant got healed and did everything he was supposed to do and came back the way he is now, why can't Klay Thompson do it? Klay never going to lose his shot. So if he can come back with the same defense he had before he got hurt, the Warriors are still the Warriors. That's going to boost their chances. Hence with me saying, until he retires and until he gets out of his prime, Klay Thompson is the best shooting guard in the league, and it is not close. Every other guard probably has all the more individual accolades, but the game is about winning and consistency to winning. Only Klay Thompson has done that. Like I tell people all the time, the Warriors are the modern day Spurs, man. Back then, the Spurs was always competing. They was always in the playoffs. Always. They didn't start missing the playoffs until recently like that. But even so, when they got the pieces, you knew they were going to be, you're going to have to face them at some point. The Warriors are the same way. Yeah, you got to remember, 2015 to 2019, that's 5 years of dominance. 5 to almost 6 years of dominance. They're not done yet. And like Draymond told Kevin Durant, when they had that little scuffle in that game against the Clippers, when he figured out, oh, KD's definitely going to leave. Go ahead and leave. I promise you we'll figure this shit out when you're gone. Draymond saying that is not a fault. They're still going to figure it out. As long as they have the original core, which is him, Klay, and Steph, the Warriors are competing. They are the modern day Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. Their game styles might be different, but the roles are the same. The consistency is on par, too. Y'all talk about James Harden. James Harden, too. James Harden is not. James Harden might be the better individual scorer. That's really all I can give him. He might have more accolades than Manu Ginobili in the sense of individuality. But like I said, consistency and winning. Manu Ginobili beats him everywhere else. And y'all can say, oh, he was on the Spurs. Just because, yes, an organization helps to a player's credit to winning, but just because a person is drafted to a certain organization, y'all have to remember, that person still has to put in the work to contribute to that team, especially if they're a championship contending team. Because I remember when KD first came to the Warriors, there was no guarantee he would have just fitted in seamlessly. Anything could have went wrong with that, and they could have lost. It's the same thing when you draft in talent. Anything can go wrong. It don't matter what organization you go to. Anything can go wrong. It's up to the player's dedication and work ethic to determine, or to tell the organization, I'm going to contribute. I'm going to put in my work. Kobe showed that too. So everybody likes to say, oh, Manu Ginobili was drafted to the Spurs. Harden was. If they did it right, OKC could have won a ring. They could have won multiple rings if they did it right. That was a good organization. They had the dynasty of KD, Russ, and Harden. They had the dynasty. When they broke the dynasty, that's when they messed up. So I'm saying all that to say this: when it comes to this little debate, Klay Thompson is still the best. There is nobody that comes close to him right now. Like I said, you could have the individuality. How I look at stuff, I don't care about your individuality. Because Steph is still the top PG. Yeah, he has individual awards, but he's won at the biggest stages, though. And I know some people are going to try to come in and tell me, well, if KD didn't come, yeah, they wouldn't have. Okay. If KD didn't come, the same people that say, oh, there's a chance y'all wouldn't have won those rings, KD wouldn't have a ring either. Remember now, we won before he did. The Warriors are smart, too. Everybody know that by this point, too. The Spurs was always smart. Warriors fall in the same footsteps. Steve Kerr knows exactly what he's doing with that team. Even though there's times we think he doesn't, he knows. So even if we did not get Kevin Durant, there is no chance in hell that just means, oh, they're not going to win again, because the Warriors were in line to get other players that fit the system to help them continue to contend, just like they're doing right now. I'm hearing so many reports. I heard today the Warriors turned down Ben Simmons. For me, I was looking forward to that. I would have thought he would have been a good addition. Only because of the fact that they can bring it out of him to improve his game, and he's not going to have so much pressure on him. But the Warriors turned that deal down. So they shut that down. But there's still hope because, yeah, they shut that down. They might get Bradley Beal. I'm not a fan of that specific trade because Bradley Beal hasn't shown we need defense. If you're going to play for the Warriors, I'm looking at stuff, it don't matter if you can shoot threes. You got to have some form of all-around versatility. Defense is important. That wins championships. If you can shoot and play defense, you can do something. Bradley Beal is a scorer and a playmaker. I don't know anything or know him about having defense. And I know some people are going to say, well, look at the Wizards. They sucked and all this and all that. That might be the case, but that's still an extremely big risk to go after him, knowing that he doesn't have a resume of defense behind him. Because playing on the Wizards, he had John Wall. John Wall was known for that, so he didn't have to worry about nothing. So I'm not really a fan of that. So I don't know what they plan to do with how they move for the future, because all I know is Steph, Klay, and Dre are being more active with what's going on with the team. And this is the first time you will know about it, because the people back then that like to bash the Warriors for y'all cried to get Kevin Durant, Steph and Klay were not involved with that. Draymond is the recruiter. At this point, because he's in Tokyo right now. I'm seeing reports about Draymond trying to still recruit from there. Hear me clearly with that. Draymond Green is the recruiter of the big three of the Warriors. Not Steph, not Klay. Y'all know their personality. Steph and Klay don't care about who they get. They're going to try to figure out how to make it work seamlessly, like they did with Kevin Durant. So if the front office tells them, hey, we're going to get this person, unless they have a very bad reputation, that's the only way they'll probably say, I don't think that's going to work. But otherwise, they're going to be like, it's whatever. We'll make it work, okay. So hear me with that. Draymond is recruiting. So right now, this is the first time all three of them are involved. And you've heard about it. But in the past, it was just him. He's embraced his role now. We don't know what they're going to do, because they're still talking about it. If they go out and get a star, that's good. If they figure out how to use the picks that they have to get somebody in the draft, that's even better. It could go 50-50 either way, because personally for me, looking at it, I don't want the Warriors to, if they're going to make a trade for a star, they do not need to give up James Wiseman. I don't believe in just giving up on a rookie that has an extreme amount of potential, even though Wiseman did not play in college. That is a knock on him. He still showed glimpses of what he could become. A lot of people said he could be like Anthony Davis. I personally think he could be a better David Robinson. That's just me. But the Warriors have to give him a chance to reach his potential first. You can't just trade him just because he got hurt, because they have a bad history of, the Warriors have passed on two big men that would have been great. They passed on Chris Boucher, who plays for the Raptors. He was good. He turned out to be very complimentary to the team. And they passed on doggone Manute Bol's son. Bobo. Tallest person in NBA history. They passed on Manute Bol's son. 7'2", dribbling like Kevin Durant, doing all that. And Bobo is a part of the Nuggets' future now. They was worried about him being too weak and not being able to stay healthy. The Warriors did not take that risk, though, so they missed out on a dynasty. If they would have gotten at least one of them, that would have benefited them greatly. But they didn't. So now, that's why I'm saying with me, because I've seen a lot of people say, some people have said trade Wiseman, some people have said keep him. I'm with the keep side, because I don't want to be one of the fans to say trade Wiseman. This is what I hate. When Bobo reaches his potential, that is going to be a bite in the Warriors behind, because they passed on him. So if they give up James Wiseman and he reaches his prime somewhere else and he killing the league and he becomes the best at his position, but he's not on our team, that's going to make the Warriors look stupid because they gave him up for whatever reason. Don't do it. Leave that man a part of their future. Steph, Klay, and Dre are getting old. Let him be the big man for the future for the team. Build around him when they're gone. Get guards and stuff. Set him up the same way. That's all you got to do. The boy ain't got enough of a chance to show he can do better than what he was doing in his first year. He did pretty decent. He came second in Rookie of the Year voting. Obviously, Obviously, LaMelo Ball won it. But when he was healthy, Wiseman was second. LaMelo was first. Anthony Edwards was third. So, like I said, I look forward to what they're going to do with their future. And for that to happen, they cannot give him up. James Wiseman is obviously he had his injury. He's recovering well. I've seen reports about him getting back up to speed. Give him about maybe 2 or 3 years to figure out the Warriors system. Once they figure out the system, once he figures out the system, he can come into his own. That's what it takes. If a rookie, a new player coming into the league, y'all know I want to go to the league. If you come into the league with a legendary work ethic and you're just trying to win and you'll do whatever it takes to win, it's Scottie Pippen said it in 2K20. Y'all played the story mode. If you want it bad enough and you're willing to sacrifice, the championships will find you. The success will find you. James Wiseman is going to do that. But we just give up on him. We're not going to know. He going to put the work in. Just trust him to do that. That's all I want to say with it. I appreciate y'all for listening to me. Have a good day.